Ravens football, quarter number 2 begins. And some space opens as he's brought down following a gain of 6. They have it, 2nd and 4 coming up. Off-balance throw. It's complete. And a good job rallying to the football, holding just a gain of a yard and sets up 3rd down. They'll try and run for this with Henry.
You know, it's easy to sit up here and say, hey, just keep running the ball. They've been efficient, just kind of wear down this defense by 1,000 different paper cuts. But the problem is, it's only contingent upon your ability to keep the score down. So if you want to continue to run the ball this often, you're going to have to look to their defense to play really well.
Here's Lamar. He'll keep it on the zone read. And he's going to have the Ravens 1st down. They managed to convert. That'll keep the drive alive.
It's a gain of 6. 1st down, Ravens.
From the gun, Jackson. Open man, that's Flowers. They'll get about 4 here as he is taken down. From the 38 now, here is 2nd down and 5. On the ground, here's Henry. Henry rumbles to the 1st down and more. And this takes him into the red zone. He's brought down inside the 20-yard line. We'll go 3 tight ends here on 1st and 10. Jackson going to keep this one himself. And he'll get back to the line of scrimmage. That's about all.
He does a nice job coming from his safety position, filling his run gap assignment, and keeps this to a modest gain at best.
Jackson now on 2nd down. That's caught. Derrick Henry. And a good job rallying to the football, holding just a gain of a yard and sets up 3rd down.
And it's 3rd down.
From the shotgun, here's Jackson. And this is going to be incomplete. That is great work there, making things difficult defensively. It'll set up a 4th down.
Little miscommunication there. Now brings up 3rd down. It just doesn't appear that the quarterback and the wide receiver were on the same page on that last pass.
On 4th down, out is the rookie Tyler Luke for the Baltimore field goal. It'll be a 35-yard attempt. He is 2 for 2. That kick is good. And the Ravens will extend to a 10-0 lead.
And this is what you want. I mean, you clearly have the advantage, but you want to continue to apply pressure. Can you score every time you get the ball? They're able to do that here. They tack on 3 and extend their lead.
And he'll be out of bounds on the return. And the drive will begin there. The Bills offense getting set to get back to work. Greg, this AFC East, a division that really has been dominated by the Bills. The 5 straight division titles. It's hard to see who can knock them off that perch right now.
Yeah, I think until someone decides that that's going to change, I think you just have to assume that Buffalo remains the king of the East. And I think when you look at the bottom of the division with the Jets and New England, they're clearly in a rebuild. Young quarterbacks, new coaching staff, trying to kind of get themselves out of the bottom of the division. Miami seems to me, I don't know if they're ready to compete necessarily with Buffalo directly, but Miami is a playoff caliber roster, a playoff caliber team. They've showed it in years past. So if anybody's ready to compete, I think it's Miami. I just don't know, Mike, if they are ready top to bottom over the length of the season to get enough wins to keep pace with a team as good as Buffalo.
And 2 new coaches at the bottom of the standings last year, the Jets and the Patriots. And Greg, both guys who played for a long time in the league and bring a certain amount of toughness to the top of the organizations.
Oh, absolutely. And it was very clear exactly what New York and New England were looking for. They wanted culture setters, right? It wasn't about getting the fancy play caller. It wasn't about the X's and O's. They needed to establish an identity and a culture of excellence and of winning. So no question, Mike, there was a very clear mission, a clear path to landing on Vrabel and Aaron Glenn, and they think they have their guy for the long term.
And he's going to be brought down after a short return, and that's where his team will get possession of the football. Derrick Henry heading out along with the rest of this Ravens offense. Greg, when you step back and look at this AFC North, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, their rivalry now really for a couple of decades has in so many ways defined this division, and they set the tone for everything that happens when you are in an AFC North game.
And you talk about divisions having identities, they have their culture. Really at the top, Baltimore and Pittsburgh kind of want to play a similar style game, strong on defense, great run game. Obviously, Baltimore adds the extra element with Lamar Jackson. To me, the fascinating team, though, is what kind of jump can we expect, Mike, from the Cincinnati Bengals?
I agree with you, because if you think about the toughness and the physicality, Cincinnati can put up points in an electrifying fashion, and even the 1 year Cleveland was up near the top of the division, they did that as well. But you come back to that defensive side of the ball, and when I look at these teams, Greg, I just think, man, these are defenses that can stop anybody in the league, and that's where you've got to invest in this division.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so fascinating about Cincinnati is they're kind of the outlier. They're the pass heavy, they're the spread attack, they've got unbelievable weapons on the outside, obviously Joe Burrow, quarterback. But it was the defense, and you said it, their inability to be as good on the defensive side of the ball as Baltimore, as Pittsburgh, traditionally, but especially last year, is really what allowed them to be the odd man looking in when they missed the playoffs. So I think if Cincinnati can just improve a little bit on defense, they have the offense to now enter and make it a three-man race in the AFC North.
Ball rests at the 37. It's 1st and 10. They'll run with the man from Marshall, Rasheen Ali. Finding space at the 15. And he will get into the end zone. Rasheen Ali. Touchdown, Ravens. Big play out of the running game as the back accelerates all the way to the house for the rushing touchdown.
And Mike, when we talk about burst, that's what we're talking about, and they told us all week, be ready for this guy. He's got something special to him, and that long touchdown there is exactly what they're talking about.
The extra point is good, and the Ravens move further out in front. It is now 17-0. Here's Stout after the touchdown to send this one away. He fields it at the 8. He'll get this up to the 28-yard line. Nice place for the drive to start. The Bills offense ready to get back to work. You know, Greg, early on, it's always new faces in different places. Off-season movement, what caught your eye?
Well, I think there's so many good ones, right? You talk about Stephon Diggs. He ends up in New England, and Cooper Kupp now. He's moving on to Seattle from the Rams, but I think it's the guy the Rams signed to replace him, Davante Adams. I know he's not the youngest anymore, but watching him play in New York with Aaron Rodgers last year with the Jets, he can still run, he can still make every catch, he can still go up and compete at the high point. I think you put Davante Adams with Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, in that offense run by Sean McVay. I think that's a sneaky, maybe not a sneaky because he's a really household name, but I think that's a great signing by the Rams.
And always interesting from the offseason, the quarterback movement and unique ties. Some of the biggest names were or now are Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, and now the guy that is going to line up behind center for Seattle, Mike, is Sam Darnold. And, of course, we all saw that incredible season he had last year in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson and that really dynamic Vikings offense. So now he goes to Seattle. I think he's going to have an inspired Cooper Kupp. He was let go from the Rams. If he's healthy, he's a big weapon. Jackson Smith and Jigba. He has some pieces in that puzzle that he can push the ball downfield to. So I'm excited to see Sam. That's what everyone thought he was going to be coming out of college when he was a high draft pick of the New York Jets.
3rd down and 9.
Intended for Khalil Shakir. Incomplete.
Again, it's Allen to the air. He'll find his running back, Cook. One of the Ravens has it. Whoa! And Thanks so much for a nice gain through the passing game. Not finishing the play, fumbling the football, and the offense has turned it over, Greg.
Mike, give credit to the defender here for not quitting on this play. They just give up a chunk play in the passing game. He stays after it, and instead of just making a simple tackle, he attacks the ball, knocks it loose, and creates a big takeaway for this defense.
The Ravens offense makes their way back out to the field for their next possession. You know, Greg, you start to think about, okay, who are the teams that didn't make the playoffs last year that have a chance this year? Look, it happens every year. We just have to identify who they are. Who are a couple top of mind for you as we start 2025 here?
You know, as I start in the AFC, I think the Cincinnati Bengals, and you got to think the way their season ended last year, they rattle off 5 wins straight, really on the back of Joe Burrow. We could have made the argument if they're a playoff team, but Joe Burrow was the best player in the league. I mean, he was incredible. Most weeks, Mike, he single-handedly carried that offense. Now, new defensive coordinator in Al Golden coming from the college ranks. Can he just make that defense in Cincinnati average? Because if they just play a little bit better with that high-profile offense, I think they're a team. They might not win the division with Baltimore, but they're going to be close and maybe at least get one of those wild card spots.
Why don't you flip it over? Who are the guys you're watching in the NFC?
You know, I think Dallas is going to find themselves, just the fact that I know the division is difficult. Obviously, Philadelphia remains really strong. Does Washington kind of regress a little bit back now in year 2? They were the high-profile, big splash team of last year. Do they regress to the median? Time will tell.
He's got his big tight end, Mark Andrews. Touchdown, Baltimore. Greg, it's the quarterback's best friend, and you were that guy for a lot of years. The tight end in a tight area with man coverage.
Yeah, and it's really twofold, Mike, right? First and foremost, we see so many of these tight ends around the league that now have gotten to the point where one-on-one matchups, that's advantage offense. But then even in the cases they don't create great separation, Mike, it's their size, their catch radius. It's such a friendly target for the quarterback that when things get tight in the red zone, they look to the tight end.
Makes the score Ravens 24, Bills nothing.
Here's Stout after the touchdown to send this one away. The return starts from the 5. He'll get this past the 20 before he's brought down shy of the 25-yard line. James Cook and the rest of this Buffalo offense head back out. You know, Greg, as we get the season going, obviously the adjustment to last year's new kickoff rules in place. We talked to a lot of coaches during the year. Folks didn't seem too bothered about letting the other team have the ball at the 30-yard line after a touchback. But the 35-yard line, I don't know, does that feel any different to you?
You know, it does, and I think the part that people don't talk about enough, Mike, is the impact that it's making